Yo, what's going on, guys? And we gotta talk a little bit more about Coby White and the Charlotte Hornets. I want to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you guys think of the North Carolina native back in the Tar Heel States? And he's honestly been this presence off the bench that not only allows them to stagger their lineups, but also allows them to have always two shot creators and two playmakers on the floor. And I really think that's been a difference maker for the squad. So I want to hear your opinions in the comment section. What do you guys think of Coby White? We'll talk about other guys on the Charlotte Hornets. And yeah, let's get right into it. We're on the way to 20,000 subscribers. It would mean the world if you guys can hit that subscribe button and help us get there. By the way, we dropped our latest mock draft, and I have a couple interviews that recently came out and that are going to come out, other ones too. So go check out those at hoopshype.com. Now, I was intrigued from the very first game that we saw Coby White in a Charlotte uniform. We talked about those guard on guard screening actions and the contract implications. So let's just get into what we're seeing on the floor. Second year head coach Charles Lee, who one day, like 2 years ago during summer league, the first summer league I ever went to, I sat next to Ryan Frazier, who's now an assistant coach for the Hornets. At the time he was with the Pelicans. We were just talking ball. He went to Bucknell, and I inadvertently figured out that like the guy that he kept referring to was Charles Lee. And I was just like, Charles, like, great coach. And everyone I've spoken to talks glowingly about Charles Lee. And I think the other thing that Charles Lee has brought, not just being a very hard worker, but he has instilled a lunch pail mentality, a culture that everyone's buying into each other. Shout out Jeff Peterson, who's the general manager of this organization, and he's also done, or he's president, and then I think, yeah, and general manager. I think it's weird. Some teams have a general manager and a president. Some just have a president, you know. But Charlotte is a team that's built on ball movement, constant screening, ball screens, or even flare drag screens off ball, and high volume 3-point shooting. They're shooting almost 38% from deep as a team on a massive volume. Since the trade deadline, the Hornets' second unit lacked, or even before, I would say, before the trade deadline, the Hornets bench lacked a guy outside of Colin Sexton. And for as great as Colin Sexton was, Colin Sexton plays like a bull in a china shop, which overall works well, but with the type of offense and system that Charles wanted to run, you want more of a painter, somebody who knows how to stroke a brush and how to put certain colors with other complementary colors. And Coby can do that. And no offense to Colin Sexton, who's a great basketball player, but I think that's one of the inherent differences. Now, with Coby White there, they have somebody whenever LaMelo or Brandon Miller sits, or even Con Knipple, to be out there with the floor. In this game against Boston, in just 20 minutes, they blew them out, but 20 minutes Coby White played. And he had 17 points and 6 assists, shooting 6 of 9 from the floor, 2 of 3 from deep. He was a staggering plus 17. And he was just someone, and this has just been kind of indicative of his whole tenure with the Hornets, is that whenever LaMelo or anybody of the starters sit and Coby comes in, there isn't a drop off in production. They keep chugging along, and that's what you want. And if he keeps playing like this, either he's gonna get put into the starting lineup, or we're looking at a perennial 6-man of the year. White's ability to collapse the defense allowed role players like Josh Green, who had 10 points, and Sion James, 11 points, to feast on open catch and shoot looks. The Hornets are utilizing hard to guard screening actions to maximize their perimeter talent. Charles Lee is staggering his shot creators / shot makers, aka playmakers, in LaMelo and Coby White, even Trey Mann and Brandon Miller, Nipple, by having them relieve one another in the lineups, but also having them screen for each other. By using the combo of LaMelo, Brandon, Con's averaging 19 points, 43.5% from 3, and he is leading the NBA in 3 points made, like 3-point shots made. Best 3-point shooter in the league right now. Pretty crazy. Now, outside of that, you have 20-point per game score in Brandon Miller, as well as LaMelo Ball, who's another both great passer and scorer himself. The Hornets are one of the best offenses in the league. I think they are the number 1 offense since like the deadline, and they force defenses to make impossible choices. I explained this after the first game, but the whole trick with their screening action is that if Coby White sets a ball screen for LaMelo Ball, the defense usually has to switch, resulting in a mismatch or a blitz. The ball handler gets, attacked at the point, and they try to contain him. Now, if they blitz LaMelo Ball, he's going to easily find Coby White, and that's going to lead to an easy 3-point shot. Because they surrounded this action with shooters like Nipple, who hit 4 threes against Boston, and Brandon Miller, and other guys, they're able to force the defenders to not be able to rotate off the corners without giving up an open 3. Going back to the lunch pail mentality, this perimeter freedom is only possible because of the dirty work of the tough cookies down low, Moussa Diabate and rookie Ryan Kalkbrenner, who I told you was like an NBA-ready drop coverage big. And Moussa Diabate, I thought always he could be a solid rebounding big in the league, spot starter, but like, dude, he's grown in ways that it's a revelation. But kudos to him. He is a top 20 big man in the league, arguably. And both of those guys are big enough and wide enough and set hard enough screens that if they're not scoring, they're still finding ways to impact the game, especially with the way that they're able to dominate the offensive glass. And I feel like a broken record, but we talk about this repeatedly, that if you're able to dominate the offensive glass or just the boards in general, it allows you to physically impose your will against your opponents, which demoralizes them, creates second chance opportunities for yourself, or easier fast breaks. So I like it. And with Coby White, as you guys already know, North Carolina Sun is currently on an expiring contract and will be an unrestricted free agent this summer. He wanted allegedly $25 million average annual value or more, and the Bulls balked, instead choosing to pay Josh Giddey which led to Coby White being traded midseason to Charlotte. And Josh Giddey makes $25 million, about average annual value. To me, I feel like that's a little rich for Coby White. I feel like 15 to 20 is more the range. What do you guys think? One of the good things about the Coby White trade was that they acquired Coby White's full bird rights, meaning they can go over the salary cap to re-sign him. If Coby White continues to provide this insanely efficient playmaking and scoring off the bench, or if he goes to the starting unit and it elevates, then like you kind of have to pay him the $25 million a year. Like, he deserves it. A backcourt rotation of Ball, Miller, Knipple, White, bro, that's also wings, is like the best offense in the league right now. And at 28-31, the Hornets are trying to push out of the play-in and maybe surpass the 76ers for the 6th seed. And to do that, Coach Lee has got to do what they did against Boston for the rest of the year. Make sure that either LaMelo Ball or Coby White is always on the floor at all times to have the offense chugging along. They are Thomas the Engine to that offense. And continue to run the guard-on-guard actions, the free-up Knipple and Miller. Like, I really, really like those, and I think they actually are a game changer, especially when you look at some of their guys who aren't natural, like, three-point shooters, and Sion James. Josh Green's a good shooter, but like, he needs like space to hit those shots. He's not like gonna be a guy who's gonna go out there and be a dead eye. Same thing like Miles Bridges, and Grant Williams. So there's like, everyone's eating off of this. I don't know. I like what my thoughts were. That's it. I hope you guys did enjoy. Bye.